Okay, the stream is live now. You're the host, and John is going to be your TA for this class.
Okay. You're still host. There we go. Oh, okay. Great. Okay, John, do you need, oh, you already said. Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Or morning, depending on what time zone you're in, right? So we'll just wait a minute or two for some more people to get signed in. I think as springtime is showing up, people want to be outside, but there's also things that get in the way, like rain, and sometimes we get a cold day and other things like that. So we're going to go over PowerPoint basics, and even though this is a basics class, every so often I get a question about a little more advanced feature, not necessarily advanced, but more intermediate. So we can always handle that usually in class and while we're going through making slides and doing a few things. Okay. So I'm just curious, how many of you are using PowerPoint now? Anyone using it now? Okay. Anyone that Linda, you said you're using it now?
In an organization, I've now been appointed to do the PowerPoint presentation. So.
Oh, okay. So you got it. You got a new job, huh?
Need to learn.
Okay. All right. So, but you haven't used it much. Okay. Greg, have you used PowerPoint much at all?
No, like I say, my customer service stuff has been mostly specific type applications for the services that I'm working with. So basically, I took a leave of absence from my last job so I could learn Microsoft, and PowerPoint was one more thing to put in my bucket.
Great, great. And I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Well, Weiner?
Warner.
Weiner. Yeah. Okay. What are you here to learn today?
I'm here to learn from the PowerPoint because, it's interesting because I was going to learn how to use PowerPoint for my graduation, but due to COVID-19, it kind of ruined it, so I don't know how to use PowerPoint.
Sure, sure. And Warren, hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How's everyone?
Great, great. What's been your experience with PowerPoint? Is it new? Something you've used? Something you want to get more?
Well, I just came off of a 4 o'clock in the morning finalization of a presentation, so I need to get some quick points. And this is a new version, I think, with Microsoft Office that I'm using, and they move things around a little bit. So I want to see the complete start to finish, adding music, etc.
Okay. Okay, great, great. Well, I think all of you kind of are about the same level of experience, which is good. But if you have any questions about how to do something specific, think about it, and then we'll pause again for some questions after I review the agenda, okay? Let me go through some slides to get through our introduction here. We're going to go over PowerPoint basics. And I'm Bob Cohen. I'm actually in Seal Beach, California. It sounds like a small town. It is a small city, but it's part of the greater LA metro area. It's tucked in and surrounded by freeways and everything. So, but we do have a beach. I was born in Chicago, and my dad was a school teacher, and we drove out on Route 66 every year to visit my grandmother in California. And I said, when I can, I want to go west. And so as a young man, I went west, right? And I stayed out here, met my wife, and worked in the tech industry, and eventually owned my own internet service company and started a training company teaching adults and trying to make technology simpler to understand through community colleges, and was sort of retired and then came back during COVID when schools wanted to do more things online. We are a learning organization. And it's great that we can see you. That helps me a lot because I can see you wave your hand. And if you need, we can work through we can help each other through class. We do have a teaching assistant on with us today, and we usually do in most classes now. John is our Get Set Up teaching assistant. He'll be in chat, and he'll be monitoring the session if we have any technical difficulties, or if you have a question you want to pose in chat, just post it to everyone. Everyone has lots of questions. You can request a recording after class at help@getsetup.io. Getsetup.io is our website. You are probably members. If you're joining by live stream, we do encourage you to go to getsetup.io and sign up for a free account and register for a class. We have over 300 different classes on topics from health and fitness and other things. We're focused primarily on adults over 50, but it's open to any adult, so it's not a problem. And even though we might be mentioning products, we are not paid to promote anything specifically. We're just mentioning them for training purposes, okay? So our agenda, and then we'll pause for some questions that you might have specific about PowerPoint. We're going to talk a little bit about Microsoft 365 and how you get PowerPoint now. I'll show you a few tips from having made presentations, gosh, I think my whole professional career. And then we'll go into PowerPoint live on my desktop. I'll show you how to create a presentation, add some text and photos, do a few other things, use some of the tools that are built into PowerPoint now, and then save and present your slideshow. So let me pause sharing, clear my drawings, and see what if you've got any specific things. Now I'm going to use an older technology called a pen and a piece of paper to make notes while you ask questions. Okay, so Linda, you had something you were hoping to have us cover today.
I'm using Microsoft 2007. Is that going to, I don't know.
Okay, that's very old. Okay, it's very old, and the menus are going to look very different in the latest version. We'll talk a little bit about how you get the current version of PowerPoint. Okay.
Do I have to pay for it?
Oh yes, there is a free web-based version of PowerPoint, but it has certain limitations. So we're going to use the one that you can download and install on your desktop. Okay. Are you using Windows 10 on your computer? Okay, good. I'll show you something all in Windows 10 in the Microsoft Store that may help you out a little bit, okay? Warren, you have a question.
The best ways to share out to people who may not be savvy with PowerPoint if they don't have copies, etc.
Well, you ask a tough question, Warren.
I want to know. I want to know.
Right. Well, we'll take a look at ways you can share it and some ideas that might help for technically unsavvy people. Okay. Okay. We'll see if we can cover that. Okay. So we'll save a time for saving and sharing.
Okay.
Okay. Greg, did you have any specific questions or things you want to go over with PowerPoint?
Nope, just learning.
Okay. Weiner, how about you? Anything specific? Just want to have it go over.
Just the basic is seeing how to use and what to use and put add music or picture.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, it sounds like a good agenda then. So let me make sure I'll go over sharing and how you get it. Okay. Because those are some important things. Okay. Let me go back to my slides. I want to share a few slides with you that cover some points that will help you out. Okay. So PowerPoint is a software application made by Microsoft, and it is part of Microsoft's software as a service called Microsoft 365. Okay. Let me make that orange. I like orange today, or yellow. Yellow will work well. Okay. So it comes with a subscription. Okay. A subscription to Microsoft 365 is $70 a year for a single user or $100 for a family. And a family is 6 people. So up to 6 people can use it. Okay. It's the best deal if you have family members, children, nephews, nieces, everybody seems to need Microsoft's application, so you can give them access to a copy and they can use it. And it's a service, which means that you have a subscription. You can pay monthly, but it's a little more expensive, about 20% more each month. So I put the annual prices up there. And Microsoft applications that are include PowerPoint, Excel, Word, OneNote, Outlook, Skype, and you get 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage per user. This might be valuable when it comes to sharing presentations with people, because you actually can share a presentation by emailing people a link to a presentation that you host on OneDrive. So people don't like to always pay for software services, but you get a lot with this. And I'll show you some premium features you get within PowerPoint when you have the subscription. Now, Microsoft 365 just doesn't work on Windows. It works on Windows, of course, but also works on Macs and iOS, iPhones and iPads, and it also works on Android. So it's usable on all of the 3 major devices that you might have, and you can install it on up to 5 devices. Okay, desktop, laptop, tablet, smartphone, and 1 other device. You can have up to 5 devices you can install it on, and that means that all of your software, all of your OneDrive storage, all of these applications are all available to you on any device you use. So if you're traveling or you have your phone with you and you want to share a PowerPoint presentation while you're sitting in front of someone and you would just have your phone, if you have PowerPoint, you can actually share the presentation with them right from your phone. Okay, so it's really convenient for you. So you get a lot of value in it. You get some premium features. You can cancel, you can go month to month, or you can cancel every year. If you go month to month, I think it's $6.99 a month. I'm not positive. John was kind enough to post the link to pricing, and you're going to get the pricing link in an email after class as well. But you can try it out for a month and then cancel if you don't like it. Okay. Now, I'll show you where to get it after I go through a few slides, okay? Because I want to stay on the slides, then go to my desktop. Okay, so let's talk about making better slides, some concepts about better slides. Using pictures or graphics is helpful. People are very visual. It's been proven by a lot of studies, by online learning and classrooms and other things, that people learn and remember things better when they can picture an image with it. I was reading a book about memory, and you know how some of these people, they can go to a party or a social event and they remember everybody's name, and I'm not that person. But I've always admired them because I wonder, how do they do it? Well, a trick that a lot of them use is they create a visual hint in their mind of a picture of a person. And it doesn't matter what it is, it's just there to trigger something to help you remember their name and things like that. So we tend to remember places and things we've seen visually. So pictures and graphics help people remember things, and it helps make a better slide when you do that. Presenting one idea at a time helps. And you can see already on this slide, I've broken my own rule because I have 2 ideas: use pictures or graphics and use one idea. You can try to avoid a list of bullets, but it's hard. Sometimes we like to write things, but you don't have to write out a whole sentence. You just have to write a few key words, so that it doesn't crowd things with information. And you can adjust the text size and use larger text creatively as part of a graphic design. There's I actually took a couple of years of graphic design classes when I thought I wanted to be a graphic designer. And typography is the profession where, or the occupation where people design different typefaces. And so, you know, companies that have logos and things like Coca-Cola, their script on their bottle is a trademarked typeface that's just used by Coca-Cola. And so you'll find some organizations do that, but using a unique text in a different way can help you make a slide. So let's take a look at a couple of examples that I'd set up. Okay, here's one idea at a time with a picture. Okay, and this is a visual that you're probably going to remember a lot better than a bullet in a list of text. Okay, so it really helps make a point more effectively. And this photo is actually from PowerPoint's stock photo library. When you subscribe to PowerPoint, you get access to hundreds of thousands of stock photos. And I'm going to show you how to get to them in PowerPoint. You can use those photos for anything, for a PowerPoint slide presentation. You can export them. You paid for it as part of your subscription. And I've seen stock photo libraries that charge a fee, and they want, you know, $10, $20 a month for some of them. And so we always say, gee, where do I get a photo? And I do a class also on finding free photos on the internet, but PowerPoint has this great stock photo. It's also part of Word. So if you get Microsoft 365, it'll be available to you both through Word and through PowerPoint. And you can use larger text. You don't have to go with the standard text size that they give you on a template. You can make it bigger. We're going to learn how to edit text. Now, the good thing about Microsoft 365 is if you learn how to do something in PowerPoint using tools in PowerPoint, it carries over really easily to Word, and things you do in Word carry over to PowerPoint because the menus and the commands are all very similar to each other. It also works in Excel a lot, but Excel is more for numbers and data as opposed to documents and presentations. Okay. The PowerPoint window is what you see when you use PowerPoint on your desktop. And it's got 3 columns that basically show you how things are laid out. So it's got one column to show you your slides in sequence. So as you add slides, they would show up here, and we'll see that. You've got the slide you're working on, and then you've got a right-hand column, which is for some suggestions, formatting, and other tools that are available if you want to use them from Microsoft. And this ribbon here, this is called the ribbon. And older versions, I'm not sure if 2007 has the ribbon, Linda, or if it does. Okay, so you're used to using it already. I think it was 2003 that didn't have it maybe. And then when they went to the ribbon, a lot of people were initially upset about it, but because it meant learning something entirely new. But Microsoft's able to put so many more menus and features in there that are what are called context aware, so that when you're doing something like editing a photo, you'll see commands for working with photos. When you're working with text, you'll see commands for working with text. And so the ribbon can change as you're working on things, but you've got a relatively clear-cut menu along the top here. We'll look at that live on my desktop. One of the things that helps to understand PowerPoint is that if you think of a slide, the space on a slide as a blank piece of paper, think of it more like a piece of canvas or a poster or something. It's just blank. And you can add anything to it anywhere you want to. You can add a shape, a picture, or some text. And each of these items is called technically an object. And they're independent of each other. Okay, so you can add a shape, delete a shape, add a picture, delete a picture, add text, delete text. And you can edit any one of these to change their properties. Like if you want to change color or size or fonts and text or other things, you can do all of those things. And you select them by clicking on them, and you get a set of handles around an object. And that those handles give you the ability to resize it, or you'll see commands in the ribbon that will let you edit it, or sometimes you can just right click on the object you've selected with your mouse, and the right click brings up a menu of commands you can use too. Okay, so let's try it out. Okay, that makes sense. Let me change my share. Let me see if we've got any questions here. Anybody have anything that came up about a question about some tools and tips for using PowerPoint that'll help you make more use of it so far? Okay, let me share my desktop. Let me wake up my Windows computer. It went to sleep on me. Likes to take naps. And we will take a look at Windows 10 and PowerPoint. Now, one of the questions that comes up from people is, where do you get PowerPoint if you don't have it? Well, if you have a Windows 10 computer, you can go to the Start menu. And if you scroll down the list of applications, you'll find something called the Microsoft Store. And the Microsoft Store is an application store. Apple has a store. You can get Microsoft 365 from Apple, from the Google Play Store. And if you just click on Microsoft 365, it usually comes up pretty prominently in their store, and you can buy it. It gives you a monthly plan and an annual plan, and your subscription, will automatically renew until you stop it. Okay. And so you can get it directly from Microsoft that way. Sometimes you can buy it with a computer, when you buy a new computer, but usually getting it directly from Microsoft is the easiest and simplest way. But if you have a Android phone or a tablet, Android tablet or Mac, you can get it through the app stores for those products as well. Yeah.
If I buy it 365 on Google on my Windows 10, but I want it on my iPad and my iPhone, it will automatically go there if I load it?
It will, you have to download it from the App Store. Okay, so you have to go to the iPhone and iPad App Store and download an app just like you normally would. But when you use the application, then you log in with the username that you use for your Microsoft Store. And then it registers it and recognizes you've got a purchased version, not the free version. But yeah, it works so that if you're, sitting in an office, or you're waiting for an appointment, or you're sitting in your car and waiting for somebody to come out, you can just open up PowerPoint on your phone and start drafting a presentation. Now the keyboard's smaller, right? So I find that when I work with slides on my phone, my personal style is to just use them on my phone to show them to people, obviously, because I have them with me. Or if I'm creating a presentation, I'll just use it for creating titles, for example, for drafting a slide presentation. But it's a way to make use of a little bit of time. Okay, so once you have PowerPoint installed, if you go through the list of applications, you'll see PowerPoint in the list here, and I've also put it in my taskbar. And if you just click on PowerPoint, it'll open up the application. Okay, and this is what you'll see when you open up the application. Okay, I have done some presentations for classes, and so I do have some recent presentations that are listed here. The paid version of PowerPoint will automatically list the most recent ones you've worked on. It'll give you a list. So if you say, gee, I want to work on something that I did worked on May 3rd, it's right at the top. Okay. You can even pin them. So if there's one you use very frequently, you can pin it to the top if you want to. So it's always at the top of this list when you open up PowerPoint. When you there's some tools for welcome to PowerPoint, suggestions for presentations, but you always can start with what they call a blank presentation, or you can click on new, or you can click on open if you want to open something and it's not in the recent list. So I'm going to
One of the things you can do is you can start on one device, save it, and then work on it on another device. If you've got it, that device has PowerPoint on it.
As long as you have it saved in the cloud, you can do that. And I'll show you how to, when you get Microsoft 365 with PowerPoint, you automatically get 1 terabyte of storage in OneDrive. And so when you start a new presentation or save a presentation, as long as you save it on OneDrive, it's available to you on any device you use. Yeah. So otherwise you have to email it to yourself or send it to yourself some other way. But keeping it saved in OneDrive gives you the ability to see it from any device. Thank you, Greg. Okay, so I'm going to start a blank presentation. Okay, and as you see, the window pops up. I'm going to make this window bigger. And so now it fills my screen. And I have a menu on the top here. I have a toolbar along the top, and I have a ribbon of commands. You may never use all the commands, okay? And so that's okay. They're there for people that do all kinds of things with PowerPoint. But we typically will look at the home menu all the time. If you're lost, just go home, okay? That's why it's called home. And it'll bring up the basics. So it shows a slide here and a little what's called a thumbnail. So if I want to click on something here, this is May 11th, okay? Well, this is springtime. It's time for flowers. Let's call it May 11th, spring flowers. Okay, and I just clicked in the box, started typing to where it says click to add title, click to add subtitle. And if as you notice on the right, I'm getting something called design ideas. This is part of the paid premium service in Microsoft 365, is they have a designer. It's an icon here. So if I want it to disappear, I can make it disappear, but it normally comes up. And what this does is it suggests slides that might be something that I might want to use for a design idea here. Okay. So I can pick one of these if I want to, or I can say, no, I don't really want that. I want to do something a little bit different. Okay, so I'm not going to add a subtitle. So if I select this subtitle by clicking my mouse anywhere on the line, the handles, I can just hit the delete key. You can't see me hit it, but I'm going to hit the delete key on my keyboard and delete that text. And that's how you can delete a whole block of text if you want to. How do I go back and edit May 11th spring flowers? Well, if I move my mouse over it and just click inside anywhere and put my cursor there, it selects the handle and lets me select text. So I don't like this font. I want something a little bigger. So I'm going to select it with my mouse, and immediately I get a little pop-up menu here that lets me change the font, do some quick formatting. It's identical to the commands that are up in the ribbon. It's just a convenient way of doing it. So if I want to change the font to something a little more elaborate, I can find something that looks a little more interesting here. Let's try Bauhaus 93. I think that's a 3. There we go. Okay, so it changed the font. I can change the color of the font as well if I want to, because there is a color selector here, change font color. And I can use this to select standard colors or pick something different. I'm going to pick a bright blue here, okay? When I'm done, I can just click outside of this box. Now you notice design ideas disappeared. Sometimes that'll happen. If I ever want to get it back, I just click on design ideas again. Okay, so I've got a great title, but I don't have anything else on here. It'd be nice to take these pictures, but maybe I want to find another picture. If I go to the insert menu up on the top, and I click on pictures, I can select a picture if I have it on my computer, or if I want to use stock images, or I can even find images on the web. Stock images is my favorite place to go. So if I click on stock images, and one of my students in another class asked me if there were pictures of calla lilies, and so I didn't know it. So if I want to find a picture of flowers, for example, I can just type in flowers and it'll bring up all kinds of pictures of flowers. But if I wanted to get something specific, like say tulips, I could select tulips. And so there's hundreds of thousands of stock photos. So let's take one of these. Let's take something where the background will show up pretty well. Let's do this one, okay? I select it just by clicking on it. And then at the bottom, I click on insert. And it puts it in the slide. My design ideas have started to change a little bit because I'm adding some things to the slide. And I'm going to work on the next slide and change some design ideas. We're going to go with another flower when we do that. Now, one of the things I've got in this picture is that it doesn't cover the whole slide. You see the slide has got some white space here, but I've got handles here in the corner. I can move my mouse over it. It moves to an arrow that lets me expand the slide with a picture so I can fill it. And it shows me also what's behind it. When you're working with PowerPoint, what you end up doing is you're creating layers. So there's a layer at the back, okay? And if I'm looking, well, let me change this so I can actually do it. Okay, so if your eyeball is here and you're looking at a slide, you've got one layer, you've got another layer, and if you add objects, you actually place them on top of each other so that you end up with a layer over layer. So this object, for example, maybe it's some text, covers this layer right here, but not all of it. So this would be visible here. But this object, whether it's a picture or some text, is covered completely by this middle layer. So it is behind the layer. So there's called above and back or forward. Okay, sometimes they call it above, sometimes they call it back. So if I wanted to move this picture to the back, there is a menu item here in the ribbon called bring forward or send backward. I want to send it backward so I can see my text. So if I select this and send it backward, I only have two layers, the text and the photo. If I send it backward, there's the text. So now I can select the text, and by grabbing the object, I can move the text around to a different position just by dragging it with my mouse and moving it. And I can just drop it wherever I like it. And so there's my first slide. May 11th, spring flowers. Okay. That's not bad for a slide, is it? And just find a photo, do something. So let's create a new slide. Typically a slide presentation has several slides in it. So I'm on the home menu. I will click on new slide. There's a keyboard shortcut. So as you get better at using PowerPoint or other tools, you can use keyboard shortcuts, but it's easy enough just to move your mouse around. And I'll click on a new slide, and it lets me choose a format theme. Okay, so if I just want to create another title slide, or I want to create some content, or I want to have a title and content, that's usually the second most common type of slide. But they have some different layouts that you can choose from that are pre-formatted for you. I'm going to choose title and picture. You can see the standard format has a title block here and a block here where I can add text, or I can actually go and add items right from the format tool right here. So if I want to add an image, I don't have to go to stock images. I can just click on this link and it's ready for me to add stock images or shapes or a video or icons. They're all part of the stock images. So who's got another flower for us for spring? Anybody have a suggestion for a flower?
And iris.
Iris, okay.
Thank you.
Sure, let me go with iris. Okay. And I want to find a stock photo of iris. So if I go to my stock images here, see, it's already brought up some design ideas here. Now, iris can mean a couple of different things. Iris can be something on the body in like an eyeball, but this is an iris flower. So I'm going to go to the stock images button here, and it's going to bring up my search box for stock images, and I can go with iris. Okay. So let's see, I didn't find any flowers for iris. Interesting. They just had the one. Let me try if I add flower here, if it makes any sense or not. There we go. Okay. Well, it might bring up lots of flowers, including things that aren't irises as well. So let's pick one of these and we'll go with that one. Okay. Oh, and they tell you sometimes there's new ones here too. I haven't used this or seen this before. So if I insert that, it downloads the picture from the internet, from your stock photo library. And if I want to use one of these design ideas, like over here, I say, you know, I'm too lazy to reformat the picture and resize it. I'll just click on this in the upper right, and it makes the slide my design. So you can actually use different designs for different slides in your slide presentation if you want to, or you can keep them the same. Let me add another slide. I'll go to my home screen, go to new slide, title and content. We'll pick rows. Okay, roses are easy to find, I know. So let's take rows. We'll look for a rose and see what we can find here. There's a rose. Let's get we have yellow. Let's go with the red one here. We'll insert that. And I like a different design idea here. I kind of like this one here. So I'm going to pick that. So you can use different design ideas if you want within a single presentation, or you can use the same one if you want to, if it's depending on what's important to you. So this is still,
Question.
Go ahead, Warren.
If you should start with a pre-formatted design, you know, you were doing designs from the beginning, and each slide, of course, was going to have that same design. Now, would the options still be appearing for you to select where to go? You know, those icons which are there on the plain slide, they are there for you to select. Now, will it come through if you had a redesign slide?
As long as
is it going to automatically come to the front?
As long as you're on a new slide, and you have something it's a more matter of the fact that it's something that comes up on a new slide. Okay, so the new slide, the themes will show you. You can see how they have the little blurry stuff here in the middle.
Okay.
The themes will have that as well. This is called an office theme. It's just their basic theme, but other themes will have that. So we're just using the simplest theme possible. It's just a blank white theme. Okay, and with other themes, you will get design ideas too. So if I want to change my design, there are tools besides inserting items. There are tools for using different themes. Okay, design themes are part of design, and there are a lot. Okay, so each theme, a theme applies colors, fonts, and some effects. Okay, so it'll apply it to all your slides in a presentation if you want to, if a theme uses it. So these are some of the themes that are common. You can browse for themes on Office and Microsoft 365. And where did I go? It didn't, okay, oh, let's see if Office theme and theme documents. Well, I thought it was there supposed to show me from the web. Okay, so I made a mistake there. So there's more themes that you can get from the web if you want to. Browsing your content, there's more themes you can use. So if I wanted to apply a theme like this to all the presentation slides, I can apply it to one slide or to other slides. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Well, PowerPoint's got a good little tool up in the menu here called undo. So you can undo the last step or several steps. This lists all the things I've done up to 20 things. But if I just want to undo the last thing I did, modify theme, it changes everything back. So that's in the top menu here. The other thing that's in the top menu is something called autosave if you have OneDrive, okay? And it works on your local PC as well, but I use it with OneDrive. If I turn on autosave, it's going to ask me to name the file. Same thing as if I go to File and Save, it's going to ask me to save it. But it's also going to, I can turn on autosave, and I like autosave. I have two OneDrives. I apologize for that, but I'm going to use this one here. And it asked me to name it. So this is May 11th, Spring Flowers. And I always try and put something like the date I do something so that I know, okay, this is from 2021, May 11th. So I know when I did it. And so I'm clicking it OK. It's uploading it to the cloud. So now it's saved in OneDrive. And any changes I make to it will be automatically saved in OneDrive for me. And it's also on my PC at the same time. So if you wanted to share it now, because Warren, you asked about sharing, if I go to File, there is this item called Share in the menu. Okay, so if I click on Share, I haven't done this too often, so we're going to learn a little bit together here. It brings up a menu and it says, I can send a link to this presentation. I'm going to actually post this in chat, okay? And if I click on this link, if I click on this, I do not want people to edit this. I only want them to view it. So I want to make sure I change that. I can apply that. So now I can copy the link and it creates a shareable link that I can copy and I can post in chat. Now anyone can click on that link and view the presentation. They can't edit it because I changed the feature for that people cannot edit it. But even with the personal copy of Microsoft 365, say you are working with someone else, say Linda, you wanted to work with somebody else while you're making the presentation up, and you reached a point where you say, gee, I'd like you to review it and make any edits that you feel are appropriate. Microsoft PowerPoint will keep track of the edits and who made them for you as well. So you can do that, or you can just share the link without people being able to edit it. And they can do it that way. So that's one easy way to share, Warren. Okay. Another way to share is to export your PowerPoint presentation. And you can export it as a different type of document. Most people, even if they don't have Word, they have what's called a PDF, which is a type of format for a document. So you can create a PDF file and you can email that file to someone or save it in your cloud. Or you can create handouts. Sometimes you might want to create a handout, and that allows you to put slides in 2 or 3 slides to a page and format it in a Word document automatically. So, or if so you can do that when you export it. So sharing and exporting are 2 different ways to get a presentation out to people, okay? Now, when you go to play it, because obviously you want to play it, okay, what do? Well, there's 2 places you can go in PowerPoint to play it. I'm going to click on the X to get rid of design ideas just because we don't need it anymore. We've got 3 wonderful slides, okay, thanks to my slide creation team here. Okay, so if you go to slideshow up on top, that gives you all the options you can use to play the slideshow. Or they have a little tool up on the top that says start from the beginning. That's basically one command that does this. So no matter where you are, you can start it. And then at the bottom, they have a little slideshow button too. So they put it in 3 places. So if I click on from the beginning, this is what it's going to look like, okay? Here's our May 11th Spring Flowers presentation. And I just click on a down arrow or my mouse. I like irises and I like roses, okay? So those are 3 of our spring flowers we're going to talk about today, right? And you're done with the presentation. And so when you click the down arrow or your mouse for the last slide, it tells you end of slideshow, and then you just tap it again and you go back to PowerPoint here. So if you're doing this on Zoom, anybody thinking they're probably going to be doing it online on Zoom? Okay, what you want to do is you want to set up your desktop so that you show PowerPoint. And that you want to start get your first slide ready to when you play the presentation. So when you start your first slide, let me make this smaller here. I didn't mean to minimize it. So when you go to from beginning like this, your slide will take up the whole screen. But then when you go to your share command, you just share what you have in PowerPoint, and that gives you the ability to play it on your screen. And then if you want to stop at any time, you just hit the escape key, okay?
Do you set the timing for it to run, or do you control it with your mouse?
The slides are automatically advanced when you click your mouse or you click the arrow key, the down arrow key on your keyboard. So they won't advance until you manually advance them. It is possible to set up timings, but if you wanted to auto play, you can, but you don't. It doesn't standard do that. Normally, you click to advance it.
The down arrow on your keyboard, not the mouse.
On your keyboard or mouse. If you click on your mouse, it'll advance it. If you click on your keyboard, you can't see it too well. If you look really, really carefully, you can see there's some shaded commands here in the lower left-hand corner here that let you do it, that let you advance. And you can even get a pointer here that lets you use a pen and draw on your slide if you want to. It doesn't destroy the slide, it just lets you draw on it, okay? And then you see in the next slide, it's gone, and then you can go to the end here. So let's see. I want to discard my annotations. Ermine, you had a question about repeating the process. You mean about how to play a slide presentation? Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Okay, so if I'm on my home screen here, I'm looking at my presentation and I say I want to play it. Okay, I can go 3 places. Microsoft makes it easy for you to find in 3 places. One is this little icon at the top called Start the Slideshow from the first slide. There's another one at the bottom that does it. And then there's a menu called Slideshow. All 3 will work exactly the same way. The Slideshow menu gives you many more options to customize how you might want to play it if you have 2 monitors, other things, captions, subtitles, etc. But if you normally, you would just click on from the beginning, start the show from the first slide, and it'll automatically make the presentation appear on your monitor. And then when you want to advance the slide, you can just click on your mouse, or you can hit the down arrow, or up. If you want to go back, you can hit the up arrow on your keyboard, but advance the next slide by hitting the down arrow. And there's even little commands in the lower left here that give you the ability to move things to do more advanced features. You could use these to advance if you want to. This gives you the ability, I don't know what this gives you the ability to do. I don't remember that icon. Oh, it shows you them in a view here, so you can go back to specific slides if you want to. So if somebody says, hey, can you go back to that slide you showed 3 or 4 slides ago, right? And you're trying to figure out what are they talking about, that's something you can do. But if you advance with your mouse click, advance with the mouse click again, and at the end of the slideshow, it just says click to exit, and you're back in PowerPoint again. That help, Ermine?
Yes, it does.
Great.
But exactly where I am concerned with where you are to start when you are sharing your screen.
Oh, well, that's a Zoom feature in Zoom. And so we actually have a few minutes. Does anybody mind if we go through sharing screen in Zoom for a second? Would that be helpful to some people? Okay. All right. So Ermine, you got it. Okay. How's that? All right. So if I go to Zoom, I can go to, let me show you how this has to work. I have to share my whole screen, which is going to look a little odd to you. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me stop sharing. So I'm a host in a meeting right now, and you can't see what I see at this moment, but I'm going to set it up so that you can see what I see in just a second here, okay? I have to move some things around my screen a little bit here.
You're setting up the slide presentation, correct?
I'm not actually doing that at all right now. I'm just setting up some things on my screen. Okay, so now I have to share my whole screen with you because I'm actually using a Mac that has Windows running on it. So I can show you Windows, or I can show you a Mac, and I can show you 2 different things, but we're going to look at my screen the way it looks right now, okay? Okay, so when you see my screen now, I'm sharing my whole screen. You should see the gallery with me, and then you should see all the pictures of yourself. At the bottom of the screen is what are called the Zoom controls, okay? So if I have a screen that I want to share, I can, when I click on the share screen button, Zoom pops up with whatever I have open on my computer. So if I have Windows Chrome open, or I have my Windows 10 open, or if I have a slide presentation open, I will see it. But if I don't have it open yet, I don't see it. Okay, so what you want to do is PowerPoint works on a Mac as well. And there's my presentation here. So I'm going to go and share my screen here. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to stop my share, start a new share with everything. Here we go. Let's see if I can do that. I want to do one more thing. Excuse me a second. I have to do one more thing the way I want to do it for you. Now, to show you how Macs and OneCloud work, which is kind of an interesting thing too, I'm going to share my whole screen. And now I have PowerPoint open on my Mac. This is what I was using on Windows, but this is what I'm using on a Mac. So if I click on Microsoft PowerPoint and I share that screen, you see exactly what I have open right now. So what I want to do is open up my spring flowers presentation first before I start screen sharing, but I have to show this to you. So it's downloading it. Let's see if it does okay. Yeah, it's not doing too bad. There we go. Okay, so now I have my spring flowers presentation open. What I would do is I would play it. I would get ready to play from the start first. And once I start playing it, then I go to screen sharing and doing it differently. Let me stop sharing here for a second because I think this isn't showing up right. Okay, so I have my screen set up so that you should be able to see everything, I hope. Okay, so here's my slide presentation that I have set up, ready to play. Okay, it's ready to play. And so I'm going to hit play from start first. And when I hit play from start, then I would change my screen sharing to just the PowerPoint presentation. And then it will share just the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. And then I can go through it and advance it and go to the end. Okay.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what I needed to see. Thank you.
Great, great. I was guessing, so I'm glad it was exactly what you needed. Okay. So yeah. So let me stop sharing here the whole thing, and we'll do a little wrap up. So everybody has a little different needs for when they're using PowerPoint and how they use it. I use PowerPoint. I'm a little off the normal user, but I use PowerPoint. I use Google Slides. I also use Apple Keynote. They'll all work. Okay. If Google Slides is free with your Google account. Apple Keynote is free when you have an Apple Mac or an Apple product. And so they will all let you do a lot of things. However, the industry standard, the thing that most everybody is familiar with and where things work is PowerPoint. They are the biggest, use a slide presentation tool on the marketplace. And you can actually import and export slides from PowerPoint into Keynote and vice versa, and from PowerPoint into Google Slides and vice versa. They'll all do the basics, but I think that stock photo library and the OneDrive sharing really makes PowerPoint powerful. Yeah, Linda.
Do you automatically get the OneDrive storage when you subscribe to the Microwave 365?
Yes, you do. Yeah, and I recommend you take the class on OneDrive that's taught on Get Set Up. If you think you just don't do that many slides and you want something that's free, I mean, Google Slides and Google Drive will give you a lot of capability as well. Okay, they just don't have the design tools and other things that PowerPoint gives you that are really nice, but you can do basic slides, without any problem in Google Slides. And people that have Macs like Keynote, because it has a lot of advanced features for artistic expression that they like to use in Keynote as well. But all of them work. Just learn one and stick with it is my advice.
When I was trying to do a slide press, about just putting some slides together on my Microsoft 7, one of the problems I had was pictures, getting them to size.
Yeah.
Does 365 help that, or is there a
When you use a photo in 365, you can resize the picture, and they have picture editing tools right within 365 as well. Okay,
Okay.
great. So we've got some class notes that'll come to you in an email with some links to Microsoft 365, also some PowerPoint tips, some class suggestions, and some feedback. And John's been posting things in chat. I don't know if you've been watching chats with classes and some other suggestions that might be. There's other challenges around PowerPoint that can be utilized as well. When you register for a class now, you can invite a friend and share the learning when you book a class, and you can suggest new classes, request session recordings, get some help at help@getsetup.io, and join us for things in the future. And hopefully you'll join one of my classes in the future as well. And you found that, did you learn something today? Okay, that's great. All right, we'll see you later then. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.